If I had a nickel for every movie I reviewed on this channel where a giant object goes hurtling down the Spanish Steps, I'd have two nickels, which isn't that much, but it's weird that it happened twice, especially considering the fact that I've only reviewed like four movies on this channel. That's not to say that Mission Impossible is anything like Fast X. For starters, the writers actually tried in this movie. Um, Mission Impossible actually has a plot and it makes sense, and I quite enjoyed it. Strangely enough, I actually enjoyed the plot more than the action scenes a little. I was disappointed by that aspect of the movie. I felt like outside of the one or two big main stunts, the rest of them felt basic, right? They felt like just another car chase or just another train scene. They didn't have its own character. Like something like Top Gun Maverick, which had me on the edge of my seat for every single scene. Each action scene felt like different. It felt special to the movie, even though I've seen multiple other plane movies. This one just felt like it had its own character. With Mission Impossible, the car chase and the train scene might as well just be in any other movie, right? It just felt the same. There were the really big stunts. There were the ones near the end, a couple near the beginning that elevated it. Really, the action is good as a whole, and when you see those scenes, they will get your heart pumping, and it was definitely fun to watch. But just as an overall, I found that I enjoyed the plot more than the actual action. From the plot, some could say it's convoluted, and if you say that, I do understand that point. There were a lot of villains. It almost felt like too many villains, but interestingly enough, I felt like it worked, right? I felt like each villain had a purpose for being there, even though there was a lot of them. And like you had your main villain, you had your comic relief villain, you had your other villains that I'm not going to mention in specifics because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, each one filled a role or a hole. So even though there was a lot, even though the plot was like thick and maybe a little convoluted, every character felt like it had a purpose, which I really enjoyed. And let's see. Beyond that, right, they were all played really well. I feel like all the villains were really well executed. All the actors did a great job for each of them. And for all the good guys, all their actors also did great outside of the beginning segment. The beginning exposition, for whatever reason, they did this weird thing where characters only spoke by completing each other's sentences. It definitely started off the movie on the wrong foot, for me at least, but it got much better after that. They started speaking normally. I don't know why they started like that, but yeah, no, it got much better throughout. It was just a rough start, is what I'll say. Even the comedy felt well delivered. It didn't feel shoved in there like most of Hollywood feels now. The comedy was actually put in logical places outside of one or two scenes where the laughter felt forced. The rest of it was all flowed with whatever was happening in the scene and made sense for the characters and felt like comedy or jokes that someone would actually make in said situation. And I actually actually found myself laughing quite a bit, which I didn't expect. It was quite delightful for that. Um, yeah, and just last thing in terms of specific actors, Tom Cruise's dedication definitely shows. You can see it in all his action scenes and all his one-on-one scenes. He's definitely holding his ground. However, I think Haley Atwell stole the show. Her charisma just makes her character so likable and enjoyable to watch. It's a lot of fun watching her go head to head with Tom and the rest and just whatever she gets up to. That being said, she wasn't your basic damsel in distress except for a couple of the scenes where I felt they kind of reduced her down. It felt like she had two personalities, right? Like she was her, and then there were a couple scenes where she was just damsel in distress, which I didn't really enjoy. Last thing, I wish we got more Benji because he's just my favorite character. It's a shame the amount of screen time he got. But yeah, that's all for that. I'd say a solid 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Definitely recommend you go watch it, and I can't wait for part two.